Current affairs, facts and opinion, their future in our hands. Markets, globalist technocrats versus the people. A line in the sand. The McIntyre Report.
And welcome back, folks. The McIntyre Report here, reporting live for Australian National Review. We're independent media. Follow our 24-hour news, ANR.news, or follow us across social media. That's the places that we haven't been censored too much, but Twitter or X, Jeremy McIntyre 21, and our other accounts. Israel, like a playbook on cue, is ramping up the war rhetoric against Iran. How did we tell you in advance? This is exactly what they do after the Bondi Massacre, which we believe they did that as part of the reason to scare Westerners into the next step is support yet another war against another enemy of Israel. Now, it's interesting that people are being the social tension that's being built up over the Bondi Massacre. Always we predict it. We've warned this would happen. We told you it was going to happen in advance, that they would do more terrorist attacks in Australia. They would, first of all, flood Australia with mass immigration, especially many unsuitable immigrants, to create social division, social tension, to divide, to conquer. And then they will unleash their terror cells to carry out terror attacks. It's part of the plan. And we're not surprised by this because we know what they've been planning. But why are some Australians still surprised? Why are some Australians still caught up in the manipulation by Israel getting you to hate on Muslims? The question is, if we want the excess Muslims that have been flooded into Australia, into the Western Europe, into London, into America, into the West, shouldn't we go to the cause of the problem? And the cause of the problem would clearly have to be who's dropping excess bombs and bombing excess Muslim nations. We've talked about that before, and that's clearly is Israel, who is in Muslim nations' territory, stealing their land and genociding them right in front of our eyes, and then calling us Holocaust deniers if we don't accept their lies that that's not happening, even though we can see it ourselves. But keep deflecting back to an 80-year-old one that doesn't stand up to scrutiny, not like they'd lie about anything. Especially they don't seem to want to admit these Holocaust deniers, all the Holocaust these Rothschilds have been behind, but only to highlight one that is very suspect. So they're bombing excess Muslim nations. They're in Muslim territory and won't leave. So they're sending the Muslims into our country. That's Israel. So anyone standing with Israel is standing with the extermination of their own people, the wiping out of their own national identity, and the destruction of their own country. So what sort of people would still stand with Israel? I dare say those who can be manipulated by the shekels, like a Ben Shapiro, for instance. You can buy him, right? But many people can be bought. Business people can be bought. They want to be rich, so they'll support Israel because they'll get, they think they'll get good business deals by being in that rich community. I mean, it's pretty pathetic, right? If you have to stand with the nation bombing children to death to, make a few extra $1 million. But the shekels count. Fake people worship fake money printed by fake Jewish imposters known as the Rothschilds banking cartel, who created a fake state in 1948. And now they want to drum up more fake war rhetoric to get you to send your young teenage boys and girls this time. Conscription's coming for the West. There's another prediction we made here some time ago, and wait and see, it's coming to go fight Israel's wars. So let's listen to the lies that come with it. Israel has informed the Trump administration that it believes a recent IRGC missile exercise may be preparation for a preemptive strike on Israel. I think Iran actually has every reason to do a preemptive strike, considering Israel doesn't stop planning to wipe them out off the map. The Jewish state plans to present Trump with a comprehensive intelligence dossier. Yeah, like it could be comprehensive intelligence dossier when it's Israel providing intelligence. It's bias information. It's propaganda detailing Iran's renewed nuclear and ballistic missiles. Yeah, whatever. As well as its arming of its proxy groups. I think the arming of ISIS, etc., is by you, Israel, in a bid to convince him that a preemptive Israeli strike is necessary before an Iranian attack. Will they fool Trump? Well, Trump is funded by Israel. He's a Zionist. His biggest sponsor, $250 million. Miriam Adelson, he even boasts about that. So Israel's not going to end their fuckery until Israel is ended. How do we stop this in a peaceful way? We simply have to sanction Israel, wake people up to it, and stop standing with the devil. If you have friends still standing with Israel, you've got to ask them why. Why would you stand with a banking cartel state that hates you, destroying your nation? Oh, no, but they're only democracy in the Middle East, are they? funny democracy. What are they doing in the Middle East? Oh, they're defending themselves. They're surrounded by enemies. Who put themselves there? They could easily move. They like to make everyone else move. Why don't they move and just go back to where they're... Oh, that's right. They're trying that in Ukraine. That's why they started a war against Russia, because they're from Khazaria, eastern Ukraine. But that's failing to make it Israel too. So Israel 1 is likely to get wiped off the map. That would be our prediction. Israelis should flee. We don't want to see such violence. But I think, bombing kids, to pieces so they can't throw pebbles back at you is really brave of Israel. But pick on a fight with Iran, I think they've got a little bit more weaponry than kids throwing pebbles at a prison fence erected around them. That's what I just think. Possibly. Let's see. And I think I know who's going to win. But as we know, Israel has the only nation with the Samson option. If they lose the game, they'll smash the chess pieces, and that means trying to nuke us all or unleash their terror cells, not just like Bondi Massacre, but 10 times that around the West to scare you into submission. That's what they like to do. It's not like we haven't seen it.
And this just in, a Muslim shooter out of Bondi Beach is apprehended by another Muslim. Could it be a false flag? Of course not. That would be crazy. Jessica, take it away.
Thanks, John. The shooting took place at a Hanukkah celebration on Sunday, leaving 15 people dead. However, there was one lucky chosen person who survived not only October 7, but also a bullet grazing his head.
I survived October 7th. I lived in Israel the last 13 years. We came here only 2 weeks ago to work with the Jewish community, to fight anti-Semitism, to fight this bloodthirsty, ravaging hatred.
That's why you're here.
That's why I'm here.
Wow, who bandages a wound without cleaning it?
Nobody, but it's better theatrics that way. After all, he is the chosen victim.
Thanks, guys. We're here inside the hospital where the chosen victim has just been brought in for treatment. A bullet to the head is serious and they must act fast. Let's go live to the doctor.
Yeah, so the chosen victim is fine. Turns out it's just stage blood. Corn syrup. You guys actually fell for that? Ridiculous.
Oy vey, please don't air this.
Too late. We already saw the picture.
This guy's the president of the Australian Jewish Council and moved there 2 weeks ago. Not buying it.
Thanks, Ching Chong. I'm pretty sure Satan told him this would happen.
Right. Perfect way to take their guns, too.
To be honest, I'm like 90% sure he was in the IDF.
Every single time.
Your call for a Palestinian state pours full fuel on the anti-Semitic fire. It rewards Hamas terrorism. It emboldens those who menace Australian Jews and encourages the Jew hatred now stalking your streets. Anti-Semitism is a cancer.
Thanks, Satan. Blame the sand people. Am I right?
Exactly. Let's all just forget about the fake weapons of mass destruction and genocide you committed.
This is the punishment that God gave us. We killed the Jews. We got, instead of the Jews that were very good for us, we got these Muslim refugees from all over the world who are destroying us, and the Christians cannot even celebrate Christmas now.
Holy victim.
I don't really trust people who only talk about what happened to them, but
never what they did to anyone else.
Right?
That's called accountability.
And somehow they're just incapable.
Seriously, let's start with the 60 million Christians in Russia they slaughtered.
Don't get me started about the Rothschilds in 9/11.
Let's see what our investigation team thinks. Good point, guys. So official story says investigators found an ISIS flag in his car, which makes you think, why do they never attack Israel? Eric Warsaw, break it down for us.
Israel actually admitted to funding and giving small arms to ISIS-affiliated groups, and people still refuse to see his controlled opposition.
What do you think of what happened today?
Absolute tragedy, but I saw that the Naveed Akram was trending in Israel just days before, so...
Oh! Oh no!
Thanks, guys. And this is the hero who risked everything, but the media refuses to talk about it. His name is Ahmed El Ahmed, which is obviously very sandy. So let's go ahead and change subjects.
Isn't that classic? It's funny when satire is closer to the truth than the fake news productions they fill us with. So let's go to a quick ad break. We'll be back with some more in just a moment here at Australian National Review.
The McIntyre Report.
Hey, welcome back, folks, to McIntyre Report. Let's continue with the show. My God, Iran kicking up a stink, wanting war. Epstein files are out as well, or some of them, not reporting the full story.
As Commander-in-Chief, it's my great honor to announce that I have approved a plan for the Navy to begin the construction of two brand new, very large, the largest we've ever built, battleships. You know, you used to build the Iowa, the Missouri, the Wisconsin, the Alabama, many others. We had big battleships. These are bigger, but they will have 100 times the, they'll be 100 times the force, the power, and there's never been anything like these ships. These have been under design consideration for a long time, and it started with me in my first term, because I said, why aren't we doing battleships like we used to? And these are the best in the world. They'll be the fastest, the biggest, and by far 100 times more powerful than any battleship ever built. So if you look at the Iowa, the Missouri, Wisconsin, Alabama, and others, but they were similar in size, some a little bit bigger than the others, but if you take the biggest one, it's 100 times more powerful. They're longer by a little bit, but and they're bigger ships, but they hold much more. They use the word lethality.
Well, Trump would be excited, these new toys, but battleships, I'm not really sure that's going to win wars in the future. And how are they going to build them? You know, outsource them to China, considering China controls most of the global shipping production. America barely has a shipping industry capable of achieving anything. So good luck with that. It'll be more money for the military industrial complex. As we know, they love to milk that. So taxpayers can get raped and pillaged more and more.
In Venezuela, gay marriage is banned. Abortion is banned. Sex changes for transgenderism are banned. It's one of the very few countries in the entire hemisphere with those policies. It is on social policy, not defending the regime, just saying, one of the most conservative countries in North or South or Central America. Only El Salvador really comes close. And by the way, the U.S.-backed opposition leader who would take Maduro's place if he were taken out is, of course, pretty eager to get gay marriage in Venezuela. So to those of you who thought this whole project was globo homo, not crazy, actually.
The things you find out thanks to independent media. I mean, does anyone still watch fake news? But they do after the Bondi Massacre. Australians, how many are believing everything on TV? Oh, no, it's not a false flag. Israel doesn't do these sort of things, besides the fact that Israel's been caught behind nearly every terrorist attack on the planet. That, oh, no, it's something different now. They're not behind the Bondi Massacre. They maybe decided to have a break. Despite the leading spokesperson, their chosen victim has been outed. I mean, there's so much nonsense coming out. Doesn't add up, does it? He's wandering around talking. Why don't they check, if there was an independent investigator, check who's talking to on the phone? He's been shot in the head, apparently. He had time to do selfies. Now he's wandering around talking to someone, not going to the ICU, not being rushed off to hospital. I mean, is this before the attack or after? I mean, what's going on here? This theatrics only raises questions, especially when we know these are false flag attacks. It's what they do. Now, that doesn't mean people don't die. Sadly, they kill people. Israel kills people every day. Name another nation that brings death and misery to the door, as so many on this planet, than Israel. So if you think Israel wouldn't kill Australians, you're wrong. I'm sorry. Stop standing with a fake satanic state. Why defend them? For shekels? Because they deeply propaganda you since a kid that you believe that they're the Israel that was in the Bible? Yet they only were created 77 years ago. That's not the same Israel. I'm sorry to break the news to you, but people just want to believe in nonsense.
For us, October 7th starts before 6:30. I was a soldier in the mortar platoon of Golani Brigade's 13th Battalion. And that night, myself, my sergeant, may he rest in peace, the three of us were pulling an all-nighter. At 5:20 a.m., we're sitting by the radio so as not to wake the other radio operator. And my deputy battalion commander suddenly gets on the radio with a strange message. All stations. I don't know why, I don't know how. No patrol on the fence until 9 a.m.
What time was this?
5:20 in the morning.
They were told not to patrol the border fence between 5:20 and 9 a.m., the exact time Hamas was planning to attack. But in order for those directions to be given, his superiors would have to know Hamas's plan down to the hour, which how could they possibly do that except from Instagram? And B, his superiors would have to want to allow Hamas to attack. But that would be ridiculous. And I'm not going to believe anything like that until I hear the actual order sent out over the radio that morning telling them to stand down until 9 a.m. And no one has that audio.
It's right here.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Let's play that.
All stations are to hold their positions. So in terms of ground forces in Oriv, we don't have anything significant. The brigade issued a directive for our forces, pending a situation assessment until 9 a.m. No vehicle is to approach Burma. I'll say it again, until 9 in the morning, pending the situation assessment, no vehicle is to go down to Burma. We're in rear staging areas, a brigade-level arrangement. I don't know exactly why.
I don't know why, but all units, just don't do your job for the next, 4 or 5 hours, no matter what you hear outside, all right? Do not go out there, because we don't want you getting hurt doing your job, so just stay there. Don't do the thing you do. To sum up, this isn't the first evidence that Israel knew, allowed, fostered, and then exploited October 7th, even going so far as to kill hundreds of their own citizens. It's actually just a small piece of evidence in a giant pile indicating that's exactly what happened.
So, for those who continually have attacked independent media, including Australian National Review, for telling you from day one when we put up $1 million straight away that we bet Israel was behind October 7th. No, that can't be true. You're just a conspiracy theorist. Well, how do you think now? Those people out there, those schmucks that will defend fake news because they're so full of fake news, so full of fakeness. Fake people fall for fake narratives. Fake people put a fake God, as in shekels, in fake money printed by these fake Jewish imposters who created the fake state of Israel. What sort of people can routinely believe the fake news? There's the hard evidence, folks, of just some of the evidence of October 7th. We've told you continually about it, and independent media readers would know about that. October 7th was a false flag by we know who. Just like September 11th was, just like the Bali bombings were, just like Port Arthur Massacre, Christchurch Massacre, Dunblane Massacre, Oklahoma, London bombings, so Boston bombings, so many others. And now you can add to it Bondi Massacre. Now, if you don't think Israel is behind Bondi Massacre, here at Australian National Review, we will toss your house for it. Even got a Sydney waterside mansion, we'll toss you for it. We've raised from $1 million to $10 million within 24 hours of the investigation that we're betting Israel did it. Now, if you don't know Israel did it, the question is, why don't you? Is it because you're not getting off your butt and doing research? It doesn't take that long to figure out that the official narrative is a complete and utter lie. So then you're going to go, who's the prime suspect? Who has motive, capability, a past pattern of behavior? Who does these sort of things? And that narrows it right down to one fake state.
There's no greater evil in the world today than Zionism. There's no bigger illegal, occupying, genocidal, apartheid, racist country than Israel. There just isn't. And what makes it worse is that they have the full support of the United States. That's why I get outraged about it, because it's my government doing it. Are there other atrocities happening in the world? Yes. And if my government was funding it and making me support it, and if the media in my country was going along with it and trying to shame me for speaking up about it, I would speak up about it more. It's happening right now with Israel, as it has been happening for the last 70 years, but it's been intensified over the last 2 years because of social media. Now we get to see it.
Jimmy Dore there. I think he's in another great independent media speaking out. People are willing to put their effectively lives on the line because remember, Israel is a state that goes around killing journalists, especially independent media journalists.
I'm not an anti-Semite for a very specific reason, not because it's unpopular or my donors don't like it. I don't have any donors. I'm not an anti-Semite because anti-Semitism is immoral. In my religion, it is immoral to hate people for how they were born. Period. But that is not a limited principle. That is a universal principle. It applies to every human being on planet Earth. You are prohibited by my religion, which is Christianity, from hating people for how they were born. Because God created them with his spark in his image. Because they have souls. You can disagree with them. You can hate their ideas. You may even find yourself, and I do, I'll confess it, hating them for a moment. But you can't hate everyone who's like them. You can't punish people for crimes they didn't commit. That's the basis of our justice system. That's the basis of Christian ethics. That's why we have what are called human rights. They apply to every human, not just your group, not just my group, but every group, every human, because we don't consider people in terms of the groups to which they belong. We consider them as individuals the way that God created them.
Well said, Tucker Carlson, and for his efforts of highlighting he's not an anti-Semite. I'm not an anti-Semite either, but I guess the new definition, if you oppose a nation dropping bombs on children, then yes, you are an anti-Semite. So guess who just won the anti-Semite of the year? Breaking news, Tucker Carlson named anti-Semite of the year by the Jewish civil rights group. Who the fuck do these Jewish groups think they are? How about you fuck off? We don't give a fuck what you think. If we're Jewish, so we're still called anti-Semites. It's just absurd. The rise of anti-Semitism in the world is a very good thing. Why? Because it's not a rise of anti-Semitism. It's a rise of people, a great awakening of waking up to who the satanic enemy of humanity is. The nation that starts war with pretty much every nation, the nation that steals, thieves, and bombs children to death is not God's chosen ones. It's the devil's chosen ones. So continue to stand with Israel, and you are the problem. And you will not be part of the solution. And people are so programmed. Oh, no, you stand with Hamas. Hamas was founded by Israel. ISIS, Israel. So if people don't know that, look at what they did on October 7th. Hamas started it. We've just seen that that's not the case. So people keep falling for the lies because fake people don't know what the truth is.
Ted Cruz is planning to run for president for the Republican nomination next presidential cycle. I think Ted Cruz is needs to work on some personal stuff and is one of the saddest people I've ever known. Well, and it's unimaginable to me that he would run for president. It seems like a joke, but he clearly believes it. Why does he believe he can get the Republican nomination, do you think? And does he have a shot?
Well, first of all, Ted Cruz is from Canada, not Texas. Think that is.
He was a Canadian citizen.
And I will never, ever let it go.
Lying Ted. He's a nasty guy. You don't know what's up. Gentlemen, you know Ted, he brings the Bible, holds it high, puts it down, lies.
The only reason Ted Cruz, who's a total loser, thinks he can become president because guess who's backing him? Israel. Sell your soul to the devil and you can one day become president of America. Or you tell them to go F-O. Once the world tells these people to fuck off, unite against them, then get their lives back. No more wars, no more terrorist attacks. The world wouldn't be perfect, but be pretty much close to it. No more theft and genocide, death and misery. You want to ever know why there's wars in the world? Did you ever ask that question? Well, I can tell you the answer, but I'm not going to. You can figure it out. Why is there terrorist attacks like Bondi? Well, until you figure out the answer to that, there will be more of them. Like, how long has it been since Port Arthur Massacre? And Australians still think that was done solely by a lone deaf-mute gunman? Bali bombings? Oh, that was evil Muslims, Islamic terrorists? Please, give me a break. People believe anything these days.
America's going to be in trouble if you don't support Israel. We've been supporting Israel, and guess what? The country's in big trouble. And I get back to the original point. We do not care about Israel, and there's nothing you can do that's going to change that. We do not care. It's not our problem. It's not our concern. It's not our tradition. So then they try to guilt trip you if you're a Christian. They say, you have to support Israel. It's in the Bible. The Bible does not tell me that I have to support a foreign government. The Bible does not tell me I have to support a politician from a foreign country. The country of Israel is not the Israel of the Bible. So this is what they're doing. So first it's, oh, America won't survive without Israel. That ain't selling. Oh, if you're a Christian, you have to support Israel. That ain't selling. And at the foundation of all of it is that the American youth doesn't give a damn about Israel, and they never will. They do not care. They're sick of it. And the more you try to shove it down their throats, the worse it's going to get.
We put up $1 million challenge for anyone here at Australian National Review. Wants anyone in the world, please tell us why we should stand with Israel. Why Australia? Why anyone should. No one will take it up because they can't provide a logical argument. Here's more evidence coming out of this twat Israeli plant that was the chosen victim for Bondi Massacre. Chief propagandists who spread the 40 beheaded babies lie to justify the wholesale slaughter of Palestinians. I mean, a Jewish twat. Look at the sort of person that would do that. Lie, because he's an Israeli plant. Also, Israel wants to continue to shape what you think. Israel closed a $6 million deal to pump pro-Israel content on TikTok, Insta, YouTube, and sneak into ChatGPT outputs. Are you surprised? Shouldn't be. Now, the U.S. Justice Department restores Trump photo and Epstein files after public backlash. The Epstein files have been heavily redacted, but we're seeing a little bit coming out. U.S. Department of Justice restored a photograph from the Jeffrey Epstein files after criticism over its removal. The image showed documents from Epstein's office with 2 photos of President Donald Trump. One photo showed Trump with a group of women, another with Trump with Melania Trump, Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell. The document also included images of Epstein with former President Bill Clinton and Pope John Paul. The OG said the image was temporarily removed after the Southern District raised concerns about victim protection, I'm sure. After review, officials confirmed no Epstein victims were shown in the photograph. Had to come up with a new narrative, didn't they? More than a dozen newly released chapters of Epstein's files strangely vanished from the Justice Department website. We can't imagine why. And Miss Madeline put up that video we showed you earlier, getting a lot of traction. Interesting video of the aftermath of the Bondi attacker surfaced online. We showed you that before. It's certainly, the official narrative is full of holes, but it's not like we didn't predict people would find out. Citizen journalists will bring the truth to you. Fake news will try and prevent you from finding out the truth, and then call anything that might be close to truth. It's just a conspiracy theory. How's that conspiracy theory of the official narrative Bondi Massacre? How's that going? A 5-year-old could debunk it. Where was the police response? Try going down Bondi any other time and not see police everywhere. Try and throw some litter on the ground. Actually, better still, if you want police response, criticize Israel. They'll be knocking on your door. Do a social media post. And within 2 minutes flat, they'll be there to apprehend you. But if you're in a massacre where Israel's slaughtering Aussies, what's the rush? What's the big deal? It's the way the world works. Let's go to a quick ad break. We'll be back with some more in a minute.
What does $78,000 get you in Bali? Introducing Resort KN Vios by LUX. Studios from $79,000 AUD. Hotel-style amenities. Live. Work. Unwind. Unique design villas, live in or rent out. Prime Seminyak location. Steps to dining. buffets and beach clubs. Projected net annual returns, 12 to 18% PA. Thinking of moving to Bali? Own your place in Seminyak. Own at Resort KN Villas by Lux Seminyak.
Are you somebody who's always wanted the beachfront lifestyle without the beachfront cost? Imagine waking up to ocean views, grabbing coffee steps from the sand, and calling it home. Now you can, with freehold beachfront property that's still affordable. Whether you're investing, escaping, or just upgrading your lifestyle, this is your moment. Luxury living, freehold ownership, oceanfront life, it's all here. Your beachfront lifestyle starts now. Are you in? Learn more at Marina Bay.
What if I told you that owning a beachfront villa in Indonesia could cost less than a new car? Marina Bay City, Lombok, new release villas start from just $99,000 AUD, and they can generate up to 20% yearly rental returns, plus 50-80% capital gain while being built. Lombok is Bali's stunning, untouched neighbor, same paradise vibe, but still early and affordable. Smart investors are already moving in. Want to see how? Join our free webinar, Message Us Webinar, and we'll send you the link.
The McIntyre Report.
Welcome back, folks, to McIntyre Report. Follow our 24-hour news headlines. ANR.news is our last show for 2025. We promise you one hell of a year. It started off with a cracking pace. The things that seem to happen now, news cycles happen so fast. Many things we predicted have occurred. 2026, let's look at making some predictions when we get back after the Christmas break of what is likely to happen in 2026, but it's pretty obvious there's probably going to be the start of World War III is looking highly probable, economic crash as well, 2026 to 2027. But we also have the chance for Israel to fall. And if Israel falls, as long as they don't nuke the rest of us, the world would move into a new golden age. That's my
During Biden's administration, Israeli officials considered nuking the United States if we stopped supplying them with weapons for Gaza. Think I'm exaggerating? No. Take a listen to this interview from last month.
I was told by certain people in the government, look, we didn't have choice because we were being threatened with a complete cutoff of arms. So I listened to this, and the individual telling me this said, you don't believe this, or what? I said, no, I believe that the Biden administration, as I called it, did threaten us. But I said, you're mistaken if you think there's never a choice. There was a choice. He said, well, what? Is it to have our weapons cut off? I said, no, let me bring you back to October 1973, during the Yom Kippur War, when Henry Kissinger instituted an arms embargo against us. He stopped the aerial resupply of our army at that point to extract diplomatic concessions from us. And what happened? What happened was an A4 Skyhawk was parked at Tel Nof Air Base with some interesting weapons under its wings. And we told the Americans, take your eye in the sky and take a good look at the airplane that's on that runway. And the next day, the airlift started. So the guy that I was talking...
Which airlift?
To Israel.
Uh-huh.
The arms airlift.
So in other words, we threatened their...
We threatened to use unconventional weapons. I'll leave it at that. And so he said, is this what you want us to threaten now? I said, absolutely, except this time I want us to go forward with it if necessary. If they think we're bluffing, we go forward with it. Look,
wait, some people might look at this and hear you saying these things and say, he's a dangerous dude. You know, he could, blow up the entire Middle East.
That was Jonathan Pollard. He's an Israeli spy that spent 30 years in U.S. prison for sending U.S. intelligence to Israel. It's been discovered today that Mike Huckabee, the U.S. ambassador to Israel, met with him in July. Apparently, Mike Huckabee had it off his official schedule, and U.S. officials didn't know. Apparently, the CIA station chief in Israel had no idea Mike Huckabee was having this meeting as well. Apparently, the CIA station chief in Israel was alarmed and had no idea about this meeting as well. So that's what's really going on behind the scenes if you're wondering the truth of the relationship between the United States and Israel.
Wow. Anyone that studied the evil of Israel would not be surprised. They will not go down without a fight, and they're likely to smash the chess pieces as they lose the game. That is the greatest danger of the world. There is no other major threat. The whole Muslim caliphate takeover of the world threat is done to distract you, to make you think the Muslims are going to take over the world. Leave the Muslims, let them go back to their country. Let's move Israel out of the Muslim countries. Stop genociding, stop bombing, take the weapons off Israel. Let the Muslims go back to their home nation so they're safe. And then de-arm ISIS and all these proxy Israeli armies that have been funded, recruited, and encouraged to commit acts of terror. De-arm them. Where would Israel go? Well, they've been booted out of enough countries. We could probably find somewhere safe to put them. Now, of course, there's a Jewish autonomy zone in middle of Siberia. Of course, we'd never do what Israel does and put a prison fence around Gaza and drop bombs on them, because that would be barbaric. So I don't think we should do that to innocent Israelis, because they're not their government, right? So that would be barbaric. But they need to leave. It's a failed experiment. It's a wanker cartel state.
Watch this Muslim professor take down 2 CNN hosts.
Does Islam promote violence?
Islam doesn't promote violence or peace. Islam is just a religion, and like every religion in the world, it depends on what you bring to it. If you're a violent person, your Islam, your Judaism, your Christianity, your Hinduism is going to be violent. There are marauding Buddhist monks in Myanmar slaughtering women and children. Does Buddhism promote violence? Of course not. People are violent or peaceful, and that depends on their politics, their social world.
In Saudi Arabia, when women can't vote and they can't drive and they need permission from their husband, that's not extremists.
I mean, again, this is the problem, is that you're talking about a religion of 1.5 billion people, and certainly it becomes very easy to just simply paint them all with a single brush by saying, well, in Saudi Arabia, they can't drive, and so therefore, that's somehow representative of Islam. It's representative of Saudi Arabia.
Be honest, though, for the most part, it is not a free and open society for women.
It certainly is in Indonesia and Malaysia. It certainly is in Bangladesh. It certainly is in Turkey. Do you know that Muslims have elected 7 women as their heads of states in those Muslim majority countries? How many women
But it is
do
not,
we have
but for the most part, Reza.
Hold on a second, Reza, because he says it's a Muslim country problem. He says that in Somalia.
Yeah, but and that's actually empirically, factually incorrect. It's a Central African problem. Eritrea has almost 90% female genital mutilation. It's a Christian country. Ethiopia has 75% female genital mutilation. It's a Christian country.
That facts it in the way of a good story. And I think I say this to Australians: you're being deliberately manipulated and divided to be left or right of politics, or now to hate on immigrants or hate on Muslims. I live in the biggest Muslim country in the world. We run Australian National Review out of Indonesia because it's safer here to speak free speech. We have more free speech in Indonesia than we do in Australia. Independent journalists get harassed at airports, etc. in Australia. I've been harassed and pulled over on multiple occasions. Every time I go into Australia, the likelihood of being pulled over and interrogated is probably 50-50. That's the lack of free speech, and that's Australia. Australia, like, people think, is completely free. We've seen that's changed a lot in the last 4 years. Now we see what's happening now with anti-Semitism laws. So, which means if you're critical of a fake state that loves bombing kids to death and shooting people on Bondi Beach and then blaming their enemies, then of course that you'll be apprehended 2 minutes flat. But if you need help from a gunman on the loose, what's the rush? So we have for this episode, folks. We'll be back with some more in the new year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.